Hello, everybody. This is Bill, Don, Chris, Marty, Jim, and we are coming to you from, well, we're from a new location. We're in the midst of remodeling, setup, whatever you want to call it. That's why we're using a laptop today versus the actual cameras. It's been a few weeks, so we apologize for the mix-up in schedules. Things just unfortunately happened very, very quickly with a move that was not planned at the time that it happened. We were ahead of schedule by 2 weeks at least. Yeah. So here we are, getting settled in, and you can see Marty has a new camera angle view as well, so you get to actually see his paint table versus his cabinet behind him.
Yeah.
Chris is there, and Jim is chugging along with some great content as well. And we thought we'd
Yep.
do a show and get you checked in. I apologize again for the late start today. I am under the weather. I've been fighting the flu for a week, literally. So this thing's just not clicking like they normally do. So, well, let me fix the mic because I guess it's the sound echo canceling thing. Hold on a minute, guys. Take that off. Can you hear us better now?
That sounds
How's
a little
that?
bit. A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Once you start talking, we'll see if it cuts in and out.
Yeah.
Hey, Benny.
It's the Restream program, so we're literally going off the laptop today. No mics, no cameras, no nothing. So we are raw today, as they say in the biz. We are raw.
Raw dogging it.
Yeah. So
Just took a sharp turn.
anyways, we got some catching up to do and some other things. Chris, why don't you start us off? What's going on in your world of wargaming hobbies?
Last weekend, Marty and I helped out with Holy Wars up
Yep.
at the Sheridan, Lyle, Naperville.
Which is in Warrenville, oddly enough.
Yeah. No, it was a good time was had by all, except for the raffle. It sucked this year.
Did you?
The raffle
did you not
didn't
win
suck.
anything?
Yeah,
I
it's
was
gotta
going to
say.
say.
My numbers, I didn't get nothing.
I mean,
Nothing. Rats.
I got a little something. You
Yeah.
mean?
Very nice.
Maybe I got spoiled the first year when I won a bunch of stuff, but
You donated to a good cause, Chris.
It's-
That's
it
what
was.
you did.
It was.
It's all for charity.
Yeah.
And I keep saying I'm charity.
Heston
else?
House begs to differ.
Yeah, I know. Before that, I had to do a little hobbying for the event. Burned in some spoons that they give out for one of the awards.
Nice.
And other than that, just been hobbying and painting.
Very cool. Marty?
Well, my schedule's kind of out of control, so I get in what I can. I have completed my Death Ray Designs Shanty Village, so I can use that for all my modern stuff. I still want to tweak it some more, but it's done. I could throw it on the table and play it now. You know, Death Ray Designs makes MDF terrain, and the Shanty Village I like, but in order to make it that much better, instead of just painting the terrain, I put corrugated cardboard over it to make it look like it was because they're all corrugated tin looking buildings.
Mhm.
So I put that all over them, got it painted up, got a basic weather job on it and rusted it out and whatnot. So pretty happy with that. That's cool. I'm looking forward to
Awesome.
maybe I'll run some new edition of Battle Space on there or something. I haven't done that yet, which
There you go.
overdue for doing. And then let's see what else I do. I did some Age of Sigmar guys. I did 4 kind of generic militia dudes for in country.
You've also been helping Fred get his wardrobe on.
Yeah, Fred's got a body now, so
Wow.
it's hold on, my tape's coming apart. So so Fred has a whole ass body.
That's cool.
I I think I'm gonna try like a combination of milliput and green stuff to skin him, so I can put the tree bark kind of texture into it. Yep. So yeah, that's about
Awesome.
it. Other than that, trying to I'm gonna try and clean up my space because if you look at the desk behind me, it's trashed, and that is reflective of the entire rest of the room. So trying
Hey, well,
trying to
we don't
reorganize.
see, we don't see. That's how
I'm
this works.
trying to, but full transparency for all you hobbyists out there, and you're like, oh, I see all of these super pristine places where dudes on YouTube are working. Yeah, it's not
No,
my
they
space.
don't. Yeah.
So but I'm horrible about I pull a paint out and I don't put it back like ever.
You want me to move this cardboard shield back here? Spoiler alert, you don't want me to move this cardboard shield back here.
Maybe I should invest in one of those.
It's screening a lot of dispersed units. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, you see these dudes on YouTube and it's like this perfect desk with their logo perfectly centered in it. And, they're painting their one little. No, there's 7 projects going on here.
That's when you go, it's not real.
There's 130
believe. Yeah.
There's 130 primed models back here. Just crap everywhere because I'm horrible about putting my stuff back after I use it.
Well,
I might need it again.
Right? I mean, exactly when you're trying to match the paint from the last model. If you put it back, then you're going off of memory. And we know how well that works for us.
Oh, yeah. Let's not involve my memory in any of this. But yeah, that's been about it.
Jim, what you been up to?
All right, let me turn my microphone back on. My computer's running pretty hot, so I got the fan going on it. What have I got going on? Quite a bit, actually. So you guys have seen our Kason content going up there?
Yes.
Yeah, remember when we used to do like wargaming, and remember when we used to do modern wargaming? So I wanted to do at least a little bit of modern content, like they say, dance with the girl that bring you, or bring you, whatever. So before we jump back into a lot of World War II, because spoiler alert, we're jumping back into World War II. 80th anniversary of Iwo Jima is coming up. We wanted to do at least a little bit of modern content. So we did some of the hill fights outside of Caisson, April and May of 1967, Hill 861 and Hill 881, for those who are familiar. If you're not, check out our video and you'll see that it's up there. So part 1 has been up for about a week. It's done really well. Part 2 goes up later tonight. Very excited about that. And tomorrow I am running the first day of Iwo Jima in a modified Panzerleader system. We're basically doing it by company instead of by platoon, so it doesn't take 25 hours the way Omaha Beach did in standard platoon model Panzerleader. Playing that with Dylan tomorrow, so it'll be Sunday for me, Monday for him, because he's way over in Australia, different time zone. And so that part 1 of that will be up in time for the 80th anniversary, 19 February 1945. So 80th anniversary is, of course, 19 February 2025. That's coming up, probably like the seminal moment in the history of the U.S. Marine Corps. Definitely the bloodiest day in the history of the U.S. Marine Corps. And so far our play testing, I'm doing the play testing literally right now on my other screen as we speak. You guys caught me in the middle of turn 3. It's
how's it going?
It's bad. It's going mixed results. It's going horrible, which is perfect. I'm trying to recreate the bloodiest day in the history of the Corps, and sure enough, over there on the right wing, underneath the quarry, over there on Blue 2 Beach, 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines. The whole battalion gets taken out in turn 1. That's a battalion with a B. And that's effectively what happened to them in real life. They went in with 900 people at H hour, 9 a.m. And they by the end of the day, they were down to 120 effectives. So
I saw the picture that you posted of the game start and all the models. Like, you're not kidding. That's a lot of dudes.
A lot of those guys are already gone. Trust me, it's rough. But the Marines are making pretty good progress. Japanese. I mean, I'm also like finding errors in the rules. Errors in the rules, errors in the counters. So I'll have enough time this afternoon to fix those up. So we can run it nice and smooth tomorrow, and then that leaves me a week to actually get the video put together, and I'll go up next Sunday. I think that's the 16th is next Sunday. Does that make sense? Yeah. Next Sunday is the 16th, so that'll be up in time for the 19th anniversary, and then part 2 will go up after that on I think it's gonna be the 23rd. So yeah, content is all squared away and good to go for the month of February, and then in March I actually start a new job, so I will be not taking off, but I'm going to be off the radar a little bit in the beginning of March. So I handled most of January, all of February, and then I'm going to be a little off the radar in the beginning part of March. But other than that, playing some games down at the club, and just building games and creating content is what I've been up to.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. In a shock to no one, Bill and I really have not been up to anything gaming related because we have been moving from one side of town to the other side of town. So thankfully it wasn't super far.
You're building a whole
However,
new gaming area.
We are, yes, setting up. You can see behind me is kind of a mess. And more shelves just got delivered while we started the show here. So we'll be adding to that. But yeah, just kind of reorganizing what we want this upstairs game space to look like. And also where we move to, dangerously close to my favorite local game store. Not saying that was in, part of the influence to choosing this location, but it certainly wasn't a disadvantage.
But
it might be to my bank account, but
the fact that you can walk to the store.
No, you can't walk. I mean, you could, but like that would take some serious dedication. It's not that close.
Oh, good. All right.
But it's a quick
Might
drive.
be a good thing to do so you don't buy too much, because then you have to hump it all the way back to the house.
That's a good point. Yep. I'm not doing that, but it is a good point.
Yep, not gonna happen. No.
I am hopeful though that now that I am this close, I really think I am gonna try to go play in the store.
That's what I was gonna ask, because we had talked about that in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. I would like to try to get there and try to do. I would really like to see if I can get into Commander Pod there. But I also would like to play some Lorcana because nobody else really seems to like the game here besides me. So that's the Disney one.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Did something just drop this weekend?
There was pre-release weekend for Aether Drift for Magic, which ironically is a set I'm totally not interested in. So my wallet thanks me. We're appreciative for that. But and it seriously was only a month ago. But 2 weeks released to non-pre-orders. Innistrad Remastered came out. I did get 2 boxes of that, and those cards are really sweet. Full of vampire and angel related stuff. So that honestly is the only game related thing I have done. Last night I went through the cards that I had gotten and made some adjustments to my Soldiers and Angels commander deck with some of the new stuff because I got some kick-ass angels in that.
No big deal. Kick-ass angels.
Kick-ass angels. Yeah.
So Strahd, that's from Curse of Strahd?
I have no idea. It's Innistrad. It's one word.
Okay.
I don't know. But so I guess we can segue over into news. Bill got sidelined with work, so he's on the phone off camera.
No.
I know.
What's the point of being sick and home from work?
No, they never stop calling. So Marty, what you got going on in the news?
Let's hear the news. Whatever it is. Dun, 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 dun. So just a couple of tidbits. I haven't done this in a while, and also I didn't want to if you let me go, I can just spew all of everything that's happened, and then it's just me rehashing what the world's history here, and we've got Jim to do that for us on the war side of things. You don't need me doing it on the news side of things. That it's not the point, but kind of to Jim's point earlier, talking about moderns. The first thing I have is about In Country. So In Country from Enemy Spotted Studios is a game that we discovered 3 years ago now.
I think so.
I think so.
I think it came out about 3 years ago. We're they're friends of the channel. Chris and I enjoy the game. I just painted up 4 more dudes for it, and that's one of the things that my other hobby project, my little shanty town, is going to be for. Enemy Spotted Studios is spinning off In Country, has sold it to a newly formed company called Echo Dark Studios. And Echo Dark Studios is all In Country dudes, basically. It's all I think it's everyone at Enemy Spotted really that was focused on In Country. So very interesting. Tanner is the guy that's going to be running it over there. Looking at their FAQ. So you won't see it on the reflected on their webpage, but if you're a member of the pack, their membership or their Facebook group, that's where they put it out. In Country still active, alive and well. Echo Dark is taking over it. Echo Dark Studios, is taking over it, and they seem super pumped. They are partnering with Death Ray Designs, who made the Shantytown.
Nice.
That's
when a partnership makes sense.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. They're going to keep the same designer and same scale models, no change there. They are going to be rolling out In Country version 2.0 at Adepticon.
Nice.
Also, I've already talked to Tanner, and when I'm at Adepticon, we will be doing a sit down. So look for some content from that. They are no longer going to support In Country Recon. Not that the game's going away, but they're not going to do anything more for it.
Gotcha.
They think that that's complete, and they want to focus more on their new version of In Country. So I've got version 1 of In Country. I've got Recon. I enjoy both of them. Matter of fact, I have a board build going on for it as well. I've got a little 2x2 of Afghan Mountain Village. Well, actually, it's more like a cityscape, really, because there's some pretty big buildings there. It's not super rural. So I've got that going on as well. They are looking at creating an army builder, list builder type of app or PDF, something, that they're not sure what that's going to look like, it sounds like. But, we'll have a chance to talk to Tanner about that next month at Adepticon and see what that really looks like. They are still doing distribution in the EU and are working on an Australian distributor if people are concerned about that. And they're going to be looking for playtesters for V2, and you can really just reach out to them through their Facebook page and say, hey, I'd like to playtest, and I'm sure they're going to NDA you and whatnot. That's the same thing that I went through when Blood. I did that for Black Powder Red Earth. So I'm sure that it'll be something like that, and they'll send you the draft rules and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I think.
Cool. Do we know why this went on? Like, I'm assuming it was to give some separation between In Country and Blackout, maybe.
That's my guess, because Blackout is really taken off.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, that I think instead of being 2 divisions of the same company, they just decide to spin off In Country by itself.
I think it makes a lot of sense, actually, because I know interchangeably when we've talked about stuff before, like there was always like I called them the In Country guys, even though they had the Blackout game also, and even though it was Enemy Spotted Studios. So it's like sometimes just having that line in the sand helps. So.
Yeah, and Enemy Spotted Studios started off. They had a couple of games. They had Kill Wager and something else, which were kind of blackoutish, but not mech based. But really, they were miniature designers, and then they had some games for their miniatures, and then have grown from that. Turns out that they've gotten into making their own games and all the stuff to support it. One of the things that I had liked is that you had the ability to get STL models from them. I don't know if that's going to continue. How they say, this is a thin line to walk, and we are considering it in the future. So I don't know that there's going to be anything new, at least on the STL front, coming out. So I don't know. Well, like I said, give us 6 weeks, and we're going to talk to Tanner, the guy that's running the show, and we'll find out all those things.
Very cool.
Exclusive for you.
Nice.
All right.
And we'll talk to Julian just to see.
Yeah, I'm sure Julian will be there too. Yep.
Talking about Blackout.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next up, I know we're all shocked to hear this. Warlord Games has more stuff out for 3rd edition.
What? Yeah.
Bolt Action. So, what kind of caught my eye is one. This is the Armies of the United States 3rd edition. It comes with the special James McNeese figure. James McNeese, lovingly known as Jake McNasty. If you are familiar with the movie The Dirty Dozen, that was based off of McNasty's group, the Filthy 13. So, there's a lot of cool history there. What is it? $40, I think, for the book. Hold on, what did I say here? Yep, $40 USD. So you get the rule book for $40, and it's got infantry, artillery, vehicles. It's 112 pages color. I mean, if you're familiar with Warlord games, you know the quality of books that they produce. So we expect that's going to look lovely. So if you're putting your U.S. forces together for Bolt Action 3rd edition, your book is out, and it's $40. And then, of course, because Warlord Games is Warlord Games, and I won't break it all down because it's a billion things, every model that you could want under the sun is available, and you can spend as much as you want to, as much as Bill will spend.
I can't afford to spend as much as Bill will spend.
Yeah.
Bill, if you need another mortgage, Warlord's got you covered.
Look, you've got a new scale.
That's a broad range of money right there. That's a broad number.
Yeah. I mean, in true Warlord fashion, you want to go all in. They've got the all in package for
I'll
you.
hook you up.
Speaking of all in, there's a Kickstarter coming up from Firelock Games, the makers of Blood and Plunder and a bunch of other games. But the new one is Blood and Bayonets, and this is set during the Peninsular Campaign of the Napoleonic Wars. So if you were into Napoleonic battles, turns out Firelock Games has finally progressed their history up to it because they started before it. So let's see, you can command French, British, Portuguese, or Spanish in skirmish level battles at land and sea. Says the game consists of 40 to 60 28 millimeter miniatures per player for land engagements, or a force of one or more small ships for naval encounters. So they've got Blood and Valor, Blood and Steel, Blood and Crowns, Blood and Plunder. So as again, they're progressing through the timeline, so to speak. It's got the rules and the force lists that you need to play, and being a Kickstarter, of course, there's different tiers. So tier 1 for it's the digital rule book and some digital player aids, counters, and that type of stuff is $25. All the way up to $175 for their all-in package, and then of course there's commercial licenses as well. But I figured, if anybody owns a game store, you can buy these 10 at a time, and I don't remember the price on it because I'm not a game store owner, stockist person. But for your average wargamer, if you want one of those, $175 for the whole shooting match, which not horrible, I guess. When you look at the starter kits. And then my last little tidbit, our good friend Forrest over at Knuckle Duster. He's got a new release, and it's called the Untamed. It's 4 metal figures, as it says, ready to take on the Generalissimo and his federalities. So some nice looking dudes there. They just came out, and then you get a special MF Johnson bounty hunter figure as well, with any order over $100. So, yeah,
Nice.
Forrest is a very prolific figure designer and producer. He's got a lot of great stuff. If you've ever, you guys have seen him at conventions, and you look at his rack, and it's huge, and they're all, I mean, like every slot is a different figure. It's
Yep.
not like the same one. Like this whole row is one dude. I mean, every single one of those sticks is different. He's got a
Just the
ton of
nicest
stuff.
guy and super talented.
Oh my God, he is.
Incredible, yeah.
Yeah, he is so awesome to just hang out and talk with. And if you're interested in his game, he will give you the 5-minute demo right there. If you just want to hang out and talk about westerns and whatnot, he'll do that
Yep.
too. I mean, just
Yep.
an awesome dude.
This year might be the year I get the board game.
Yeah.
So anywho, that's
Very
the
cool.
news.
That was the news. I know, Jim, you've been holding a question at bay here. Ben had a question in the chat.
Yeah, I was going to answer a question from Ben. So Ben's asking about in this Iwo Jima game how we're going to handle stacking and how the escalation from platoon to company scale units is going to affect stacking. I've done the math, I've done the research, I've done the measurements. Trying to apply Panzer Leader stacking rules or any kind of European conventional battlefield force geometries to the landing beaches at Iwo Jima is an exercise in absurdity. So in the first wave, like within the first 20 minutes, Marines landed 8 battalions into a beach at 3,500 yards across. So there were 8 total beaches, actually 7. Excuse me, there were 7 beaches. And again, 8 battalions landing in there. So each Marine company has 4 platoons. It's a 4 platoon per company structure, a little bit bigger than the Army. And each battalion has 4 companies. So you're talking about 16 counters per battalion, and that's not including the Amtraks that carried it in. I know Flags of Our Fathers and letters from Iwo Jima show the Amtraks heading back out to sea as soon as they dump the Marines off on the beach. That isn't exactly accurate. One of the few things those movies get wrong. So now you're talking about even more. And these battalions were landing on beaches only 500 yards across. Again, there were 7 beaches and 8 battalions. So you sit down. I'll cut to the end. You do the math. You come up with at least 9 Panzer Leader platoons in a hex minimum. That's before you start adding on Amtraks. Also, 2nd Amphibious Armor Battalion, those are the LBT-4As, landed ahead of them. So that's another 15 tanks. Actually, that's another, no more than that. That's a battalion. That's another 45 tanks you have to account for spread out across this beachhead. It breaks the system. So you have to just accept the fact that when it comes to the Pacific, troop density norms that you experience in the in the European theater of operations just don't apply. So it's going to be 200-meter hexes and 3 units per counter, or 3 units per hex, but these are going to be companies rather than platoons. I know that's way out of whack, but again, the history doesn't lie. That's just how packed these guys were jammed into that beach, which is going to show just how this is why Kiribarashi made the decision not to contest the Marines at the water's edge, let them land, let them get jammed into these tiny little beach zones, and then just open fire on them from elevated positions on both sides of the beach. Everyone knows about Suribachi, of course. Suribachi gets all the press, but the rock quarry on the right wing, just above 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines, is the one that really does the damage. And in our play testing, we've seen that that's already bearing out. So hopefully that answers the question. It's going to be a mess, and intentionally so. The first day of Iwo Jima, outpaces Omaha as far as casualties go easily. It outpaces the other 4 invasion beaches at Normandy combined. It's a bad one. Amphibious warfare in the Pacific just completely blows European. I mean, Normandy notwithstanding, just completely blows the European theater out of the water. No pun intended. So hopefully that answers the question. Short version, we're going to company level. Stacking is going to be about the same because, the stacking limits are just completely out of whack. There's no way to square that circle in Panzer mechanics. At the same time, we have confirmed sources that show how many Marines were in how big of a frontage in X amount of time. You cube that data together, and it just doesn't work. So at the same time, it did happen. So we just, long story short, take your first shot. We have to change the rules of the game.
Sorry, I was looking at my shot glass. I'm like, I can't reach it.
Oh, sorry.
It's right over there, though, on top of my paint rack.
Nice.
Yeah, so when it comes to our Panzer, actually any of our games, really, miniature games too, but especially our Hex and Counter games, we really do the research. And we see this is how it was. And we know to the best of our ability what the facts were and what the time scales were, what the ranges were, and we apply that. We convert it into our game language as best we can. And sometimes it leads us to some interesting places. And that's where you really start to learn about these battles, is when you convert it into a game engine that is actually dedicated not to, look, pretty toys and pretty models, and no, actual, I don't want to say the science of war, but the operational mechanics of how these battles actually unfolded. And you come to some interesting results. And because you're now doing it, air quotes, in of course a very academic sense, you're realizing, wow, this was like what made Iwo Jima the way it was, what made Normandy the way it was, Battle of the Bulge the way it was, any of the battles in the Eastern Front the way it was. And so that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow, and we'll see how it turns out live. So far in playtesting, it's turning out suitably horrific. We're going to see if it does the same thing tomorrow live. I mean, not streaming live, but live against a live opponent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome.
Gotcha.
Bill,
Cool.
Oh,
we did not hear your hobbying. What hobbying have you done?
my hobbying has been moving, working, school.
Yeah.
I just finished my second semester.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So I start advanced patho next semester and some other BS class. So anyway.
So what you're saying is your professor doesn't watch the podcast.
No, I doubt it.
That
It'd be
would be
really
about
funny if a
par for the
comment
course,
popped up.
though, wouldn't it?
Hey, this is Professor other BS crap. Thanks.
So, I did
It should make any
receive a
difference, though,
packet.
right? It's what you did on the exams and what you did on the assignment. It
Exactly.
shouldn't matter what the.
It's true.
Exactly. Yeah, I just got done with nursing informatics, which I'll never probably use, and policies and public health or some crap like that. So stuff to collect a check and say I did something.
That sounds amazingly.
Boring.
Yeah, what's worse than boring? Because that's where I got stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did receive a package right before we left. It was a Kickstarter. I will do a video review on it. When is my next turn? Jim, when's my next turn? What, for Sunday video?
All of March.
Beginning of March.
Beginning of March?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, I'll have several videos done by then.
So I've got February covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
It wasn't my choice. It wasn't really my choice, but I was like, I kind of lost track of I guess I forgot how short February was.
That's true.
I
starts a new
promised the
job.
community. I promised the community that we would do modern content again before we went back into World War II, and February 19th is right here, and we're not missing the 80th anniversary of Iwo Jima. So, Kaisan was kind of done in a hurry. Part 2 of Kaisan goes up this week, actually tomorrow, and then part 1 and 2 of Iwo Jima will be whatever that is, the 16th and the 23rd.
Perfect. All right, sounds good. Well, when it's my turn, I'll have a video review of the Ninjon wet palette from, I don't know, the people that make that fancy lamp.
Game
I can't remember.
Game Envy, isn't it?
Yeah, Game MD.
Yeah.
So
What do we call
I'll
that?
let you know if it was worth the money I spent for a wet palette.
What do they call that?
It starts with
Yeah,
an EX.
The exemplar palette.
Yeah.
I don't have the Ninjon version, but I have
Yep.
the Game Envy one. I love it.
Yeah.
Throw it out there.
So yeah, I'll do that. And then speaking of Blackout, that is a planned video as well. We're going to do a demo game of Blackout. I bought, what was the company that makes that pre-printed terrain? Remember the space station guy? Well, whatever. It's a company out of UK. They make all kinds of pre-printed, colored. It's like it's not MDF. It's like cardstock terrain you put together. And it looks pretty good when it's put together. And we'll use that for Blackout. And we just got to get this room set up so I can get my painting table over there.
Right.
And my computer's over there, and then we have our home theater over there.
Good process. Good progress.
Yeah.
Today,
I was gonna say I heard some shelves have arrived or are soon to arrive.
Yep. I opened up a whole bunch of floor space this morning.
So
Nice.
it's in the works. But speaking of in the works, there's a big announcement.
Yeah.
You're moving again?
Chris Bennett from Phalanx Games
Phalanx
Consortium is creating a con, and it will be November 7th through 9th in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, which is just north of us on the border. We're on the border of Tennessee, Kentucky at Fort Campbell. So it's going to be north of us, November 7th through the 9th at the Bruce Convention Center. And we're hoping to work with him to do his media coverage and stuff for him.
I'm gonna get him on the show one of these days to talk about some stuff. So, I mean, it's literally in its infancy, and they're very quickly trying to get people involved and online to come host things. I did see he had an announcement they're going to have a Conquest tournament, which I think that's super cool. So,
Yeah, he's got a Facebook page up and running for those of you on the Facebook. I know that. I've seen that.
Yep.
So they got that going, and it's all genres. It's not specific to one. So yeah, there's like Conquest, which is a fantasy battle. I believe there's some Warhammer crap. Not that Warhammer's crap. So please don't blame me.
you put it out there.
That's not what I said.
Yeah.
Obviously we're for some historical stuff. He is a distributor for Firelock Games, so hopefully we'll see some of that.
And Moonstone.
He used to be a distributor for Skirmish Sangan stuff. But I'm not sure if he still does or not. I know
For who, Bill? You
in
cut
the
out.
midst of rewriting the main rules. I got a preview copy of the second edition rules. I just haven't had time to review it, and I feel bad. It was like a year ago he sent it to me, and a lot has happened in a year.
Hey, Bill, real quick. What's this game you're talking about? This last one?
You cut. Sangan?
Oh, Skirmish. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You cut out. We couldn't hear what game you were talking about.
Yeah. Skirmish Sangan, he's producing second edition rules, and he sent me an advanced copy to review.
He's gotten that far? Nice.
Yeah, so I feel really bad. He's a great guy, and I've worked with him for over the years. And I don't want him to think I ignored him. I haven't. Just things got in the way. But so we're looking to do that.
You're ignoring everybody because of work and moving and everything else. So you have no choice.
You're mumbling, Chris.
He said you ignore everyone because you got a life.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty much true. That's how I can spend the money to buy all the other shit.
No, I'm glad to hear that V2 of Skirmish Sangan's coming out. I know it's been a project that's been worked on for a long time. So
yeah, it really
the fact
has.
that he's able to get this close to bringing it to fruition, good on them.
Yep. I'm waiting on what's the Warlord game? I backed on the Kickstarter. Overlord. Remember the one that they gave us the flyer at Adepticon last year? I was going to go to Kickstarter. Vanguard. Sorry, Vanguard.
Oh yeah.
Waiting Vanguard to show up. It looks like a board gamey type thing, it almost
It's like bolt action in a board game, right?
it's almost to me again, and I'm just going off appearances. I have not played. I guess you can play a demo on Tabletop Simulator. Reminds me of Axis and Allies ish type game.
Is Vanguard the combined arms one?
No, that's the other one.
Okay.
Vanguard is literally like a board game. So we'll see what happens there.
To me, it looks like the perfect hook to bridge the gap between people that exclusively play board games and into the miniatures world. Like it's
That gateway game.
kind of.
Yeah.
But well, I would love to do some Axis and Allies content. They came out with the 30th edition, 40th edition, whatever edition of Axis and Allies has come out. For anybody who's never played Axis and Allies, it's a good popcorn game. I don't know, Jim. Have you ever played Axis and Allies?
We featured Axis and Allies just the other couple weeks ago. That big Battle of the Bulge. Let me rephrase that. The big Battle of the Bulge live stream that we did, I think 19th of January, was a modified version of their Battle of the Bulge Axis and Allies. There's Axis and Allies, the classic game, the big global game, and then there's been 100 other sets. So they came out with one for Battle of the Bulge, obviously. And then Pete Panzeri down here at the South Florida Miniatures Gaming Club sort of expanded it from division level down to battalion level. So basically tripled, regimental level, tripled the number of units, put it on a 15-foot table, and we played it they played it that way. We live streamed that back on the 19th of January. So yeah, I'm definitely around. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I guess I didn't realize it was Axis and Allies. I thought when I thought they were. Was it the miniatures based version or the board game?
Well, he expands it onto a 15-foot table, and 15-foot tables are tough to do on the board game.
Yeah.
But he basically copies the map into miniature, and then he plays it with 20mm miniatures.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's still operational level. It's basically, Axis and Allies is one of those games that's right on the border, between what's considered a war game and what isn't.
Yeah. So hopefully we can do some of that. We have Circus Maximus. I got the files to do it in 3D, so we're gonna print it up in 3D.
I'm not gonna ask because I already know you haven't done your homework.
What's that?
I know I'm not gonna ask because I already know you haven't done your homework as far as Circus Maximus goes. When you get a chance, and I know you're super busy, please watch Those Who Are About to Die.
Yep.
Yes.
It's right on Peacock. When I know I'm pestering you a lot about it, but once you do, you'll be glad I did.
Okay. So yeah. So I got NashCon in my head. FanLexCon. So it's brand new, inaugural year. He's already got housing information. If it's something you're interested in doing, do they have a website yet for it?
I know Facebook. I don't know if there is an external website yet.
But yeah, it's in November. It'll be just a very intimate type convention. Not too crazy, but there's 3 or 4 different housing options.
It's a really nice venue and a very nice room to grow, which I think is super cool.
We can't hear anything.
So just check out their Facebook page. It's FanLexCon 2025, and there might be something for you. They are looking for tournament organizers and game masters and whatnot. So it sounds like it's an open forum. So if anybody has a game or anything that they're interested in, you can reach out to them and see if they have space for you if you want to run a few games.
Cool.
Get a hold of them directly, tap and then we'll connect you.
I think there can be bolt action because isn't the Fighting Kentuckian, I think, is the website.
Yeah.
YouTube guy.
Yeah.
He does bolt actions. I think he's going to be there. And all that good fun stuff. So, it'll be interesting to see this as a brand new con, how it shapes up, and it'll be interesting to get the background on something that's starting from the ground up versus an established one, like Adepticon, which moved to Milwaukee. Whatever. And
they needed this. They needed space somewhere.
They did. They just really, Milwaukee. No, it looks like a nice place. I don't want to trash Adepticon. They've been very good to us over the years, and it looks like a great space. Nice to have the hotels connect to it, and the only problem is parking. It looks like it's going to be expensive. It's like $30 a day, which Chicago, that's not expensive, but yeah. So,
That's kind of the going rate
but
down
you're
here
going
on Los
to get
Olos
people
Beach.
complaining.
$30,
So, but
$40 a day.
you got to pay for convenience. But
And they've already
and
broken attendance records too.
Yeah, I was just going to say their registration records have been broken already. It'll be interesting to see what their actual attendance record is, but registration-wise, they've already surpassed their highest numbers in the past. So,
Trying to get one of those advance bags was nerve-wracking. They're so, in true Adepticon fashion, it's like trying to get Taylor Swift tickets when that opens up. So Chris and I are
yeah.
Yeah, Dawn and I decided this year we're not attending. We just got too much going on. She has to go to Florida sometime around that time to for work. So I've
got to go to the Keys for work.
I work from home
on site, both locations that week.
In the Florida Keys. It's terrible.
Yes, I know it's still sad that it's in fact in the Keys, but I do have to physically be at work. So
yeah.
And I will do my morning calls from the beach office, like I normally do.
Aww.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Chris. I'll send you pictures from Wahoo's. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, please make sure you do that because that's what I want to hear about. Because
I knew it. Yeah.
Did you see what Dawn posted? I don't care.
But we will have people on the ground at Adepticon. Marty and Chris will be there, and they'll be doing little reports.
Yep.
There.
I got to talk
to
the
booth there this year. We're not doing the booth.
I got to talk to Mike Rafferty, see what's up because this is all brand new. So
Marty, I wouldn't worry about it this year because we're just not going to have the staff to man it. If it's just you and Chris.
Where am I going to set the bar up at?
Well, if you want to, knock the shorts off.
That's why you have your case. You just carry that shit with you. That's
I'm honestly, the booth generated quite a few subscribers, and and it's what got us the invite, albeit late, to Historicon.
We also won't have the personnel though to man it.
Yeah, that's the only problem. So
what's that one Halo video at
a location that we don't know and we're not used to, so we don't know.
What's that one Halo video?
Safety perspective wise, but unmanned.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. We will reconnoiter the area.
I think you should treat this one. Yeah, total recon.
Yeah, just do man in the crowd. What we've done many years at Adepticon. Jim, were you having problems with your mic? I saw you tapping your mic. Were you trying to say something?
It's even working. Are you guys able to hear me?
Oh yeah, there you go.
We can hear you
now.
Oh, it wasn't working. I apologize.
That's okay, no problem.
I was just going to ask, was that Halo video at Adepticon?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it was.
The one that got like 1,500 in one day. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So we're going to do some Halo content too now that we got this Spartan box. My only concern with that is I think the moment in the sun has passed. It's exciting when something like that is announced and gets first peek, but now I see something.
They've already announced an additional.
Yeah. So they've
we started Other Realms. We have to do something with it.
Yep. So we will. I'm not disclosing. I'm just saying that that's the problem for anybody out there that's thinking about doing some kind of YouTube channel, blog for wargaming. If you are not doing one exclusive game, i.e., let's say 40K, because it's probably the most popular one out there if you pull up YouTube metrics, and you're just a general news type unit like we are, I said unit, you're always looking for the next best. You can never really concentrate. Jim's very good about concentrating. He can concentrate on what he needs to do, but for like Dawn and I and whatever, we're always going to grab what's the next biggest thing, and it's a constant cycle, So you have to come
to be fair and honest. I never go chasing the news.
Yeah.
I mean, my games
And
came
and
out
that's
in
fine.
yeah.
Your realm, your expertise, your pot of gold, whatever you want to say, is the historical. This is what it is. Now I'm going to break it down and make it into a game to make it so you can understand the events and how it played out and the obstacles and all that. So I mean that is your cup of tea, whereas Don and I are more the let's go out and talk to the industry and determine
Well, that's
what's
what I'm saying.
the
What you guys do is actually more difficult in some ways.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm not trying to say one is any more harder or difficult. It's just different. But I'm just because we have met people. There was a guy I was mentoring for a little while. He started his own YouTube channel, and honestly, I can't even remember what it was. About he did
You,
playthroughs of games.
you must not have mentored him
And
well if you don't remember.
it was like 5 years ago, dude. He
I
actually worked
kid.
at Adepticon. I think he was a Adepticon staffer.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to watch his videos. I'm like, well, okay, you got to have your lighting this way. You got to focus on this. Don't use autofocus. Autofocus is the killer of videos. I hate autofocus.
Autofocus
Find
is
your
the
depth of
devil.
field and stop using autofocus.
Autofocus is fine as long as you learn to control your hands, as long as you're not over gesticating toward the camera.
Yeah.
Then
What?
So
yeah.
yeah. So anyways, but uh, it's not all fun and games. Pun intended.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
And
Sorry.
this
Hell and
came
no.
back to haunt me because there was a certain gentleman from when we first got into this in 2013, I want to say it was, Warren Johnson from Beast of War at that time pulled me aside and said, look, I appreciate all you guys want to do and you want to come over here and do this with us and this and this. He goes, it's not all fun and games. 99% of it is stupid, boring, hard work behind the scenes. And I'm like, that's silly. And yeah,
Yeah.
he
Welcome
was
to the grind.
so it is. So just word of advice. But yeah, there's still some interesting games coming out historically. Other than third edition bolt action, I honestly can't think of anything. I know there's asymmetrical warfare rules out there. Do I have those? Do we have those in the depository, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
If we don't, I've got a copy of them.
Okay. And that's made by our friend Matt.
So I was gonna say Matt made that one. So it's kind of
Yeah.
dovetails with Spectre 2.0.
Yeah. Matt and Steve used to work together on Spectre, and then Matt, he's a world traveler, literally, and he can't talk about the work he does, literally. Decided to make his own game. We used to get Facebook messages from him, and he'd be in Africa, in some very weird places that tourists normally go. And you're like, what are you doing in Africa? And he's like, I cannot say. So, anyway. He was in the British military. He sent a picture. He went to a dress mess dinner. He had all those ribbons and medals, whatever. However the British do it. So we'll try and check that out. That's the problem. You want to do one thing and then 10 other things pop up. So,
So there is a new modern game that I picked up last month called Haywire.
I haven't heard that one.
See, it's a small kind of indie dude. I'm drawing a blank on his Facebook page and YouTube is the Solo Wargamer.
I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a set of rules called Haywire, and it's modern skirmish level. So that is on my agenda as well. That's part of the reason why I was working on my terrain, so that way I'd have some good stuff to play it on because I've not played it yet. So I've got lots of games that I want to play as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, we were going to get back to Contact Front 2nd edition one of these days.
Yes, Jim, we got to definitely do that.
Speaking of which, Carl Titterton, the guy that made that, is rebranding his YouTube page and his Facebook page. So he's because he kind of got away from Contact Front, put it under his own name, and now he is going to rebrand that. I don't know if it's going to be Contact Front or what, because he put it out to his community. What should this be? So look for that.
Interesting. Yeah, Jim. Maybe once things settle down for you after your new job orientation and all that, we can coordinate with Carl because he wants to be involved, and we can
totally,
like we did.
Yeah, there's that, and then Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of new historical content out there. The new Black Powder game in the Peninsula Wars that Marty was talking about.
Yep.
I mean, Bolt
Yeah,
Action
that's
Third
true, yeah.
Edition. We already went over that.
Yeah.
There's a few things out there.
Oh, there
Yeah.
is. And
So-
I still am planning on, once we get organized, getting Black Powder Red Earth and doing a review of the starter kit to see if it's really worth the $250 price tag. So
Yeah, it's pricey. I mean, the models look really, really nice.
yeah. So,
I've not played it. I have the original rule set. The rules seem fairly straightforward and easy to play. It seems like you're going to be murdering people from the get-go. There's,
Good.
I mean, you get into it super fast.
yeah.
There's also a couple of expansions out of that. They've got Spearhead and Phase Line and something else. We had John Chang on the show last year at Adepticon. He's the creator of BPRE 28 mil, and I think that that's a game that goes along with the whole graphic novel series. So there's a couple of hooks into that.
Yep. So yeah, it's definitely on the radar. Eventually, sometime this year, I'd like to do a couple little series for Saga. For those who don't know what Saga is, it's a Ancients skirmish level game.
Yeah,
Like Ancients and
Vikings.
Medieval, right? Yeah.
yeah, Vikings, Celts picks.
Yeah. So it's a good game, and it's pretty popular. Easy to play. It uses an interesting dice mechanic. But yeah, you don't need a ton of models for it. You don't need a big fancy board. Just some scattered terrain and all that.
There you go.
Yep.
So I've got a little bit of homework to do here, is what you're telling me.
So Saga's on.
Stack, Marty.
I'll just add
Yep.
these to the desk.
Yeah, that means I have to get mine. I know where it's at, but yeah, I'll get mine.
Ice cream truck. There's an ice cream truck on by our house right now.
It's
74
February at
degrees
your
right
house
now.
too, right?
It's 74 degrees.
Yeah.
God, I gotta move.
Only today though. It's been all over the place. It was cold yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, freezing drizzle and snow here. So
Yeah, okay. No, you can keep that shit.
But there's I'd like to do some Team Yankee to keep it in the modern or code.
Yeah, some people on our Discord were actually asking about Team Yankee, Flames of War, Fate of a Nation. Fate of a Nation.
That's what kind of brought it back into my scope, Jim.
Yep.
As I saw the Discord chat about asking about Team Yankee. I would love to take Team Yankee and improve it, and what I mean by that is not make it a parking lot game.
Yeah.
I know it's hard because you're playing 20 millimeter. Is it? No, it's 15.
It's
now, right?
15. I was gonna say the way to do it is just jump down to
15,
6
sorry.
mil. But
I'm ill. Okay, I'm seriously ill.
We know
Yeah.
that. We've known that for years.
But I would like to either see if we can improve the rule set so it's not a parking lot game, or change the scale using the same rules,
yeah,
like 6 mil or even 3 mil. Me and my micro scales.
I was gonna say,
And,
get your
see how
micro
it-
armor out.
Yeah,
6
place
mil
the
would
micro armor.
definitely help it. And honestly, a lot of it, I know we kind of crack on Team Yankee once in a while, but it's not the game's fault. A lot of times it's the player's fault, because Team Yankee allows you to build your own lists, and people just load up heavy with tanks when it's supposed to be more of a combined arms game. And if you put a lot of mech infantry or any kind of other units besides just endless ranks of Leopard 2s or Abrams, yeah. On the other hand, when you play the Soviets, you almost have to just buy tanks by the battalion, and
Right.
you're going
That's,
to wind
right.
up with the parking lot.
I was gonna say, but that's doctrinally correct as well. So
And also, I mean, we all saw we had it on our Skyben game the other last 2 months ago now, where we saw the footage, live drone footage of the first couple of weeks of that Ukraine war. In
Yeah.
fact, I even made a meme out of it. It's like Team Yankee is unrealistic because the armored units are always too packed close together. Hard
And
cut
then-
to actual combat footage of Russian tanks, fender to fender, in this
40 in a
street.
row.
It's the E90 highway going southwest through Skyban. I mean, granted, they're getting lit up by drones and javelins and NLAWs and everything else, but it does happen. And surprise, surprise, that's what happens. That's what, I don't know. Talk about making up new rules for Team Yankee. Like penalize the players for parking lot play. If your unit is within X number of units, X number of inches from the next, you get like a +1 for the enemy to hit. For massing your units together like that. Because armies, sadly, and the Ukrainians too, we sent over that first batch of Abrams and Bradleys, and we saw how they ended up. A new scrap junkyard, because they're massed together. Like, that's not how you use those systems.
To be fair to them, they were still using their Russian-led training at that point.
I was gonna say they've adapted since then, thankfully, because you see a lot of small team tactics now with their armor.
Yeah, but at first, like
that was a way of teaching you.
Yeah, it's when you, like I said, armies do it, so you should be able to do it in Team Yankee. And sometimes when you play with the Soviets, you're not going to have a choice. Yeah. A GDW assault will teach you that. You don't have a choice. You only have so many command points. You have to move your armor in these big blocks, but you're going to take a whooping when you do it. So that might discourage players from parking lotting, if that's a new word I just invented.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's awesome.
I like it.
Lotting.
Add that to the modified rules. Parking lotting.
Yeah. Parking
lotting, or
on that too.
We'll call
Take another shot now. Parking lotting.
The Mardi Gras parade penalty. This is what happens when you want to set up your column like a Mardi Gras parade. Here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to catch plenty of beads. There you go.
Great. So other than that, there's two other games that are like right in my periphery. I just can't reach them that I want to do, and one is ASL, the whole kit and caboodle. Somebody's selling the full collection.
Advanced
squad leader.
Oh, okay.
If you know,
Chris, you read my mind. I'm like ASL.
I'll stick with nice simple beer and pretzel games like expanded Panzer Leader. Advanced squad leader, man. That is whoa.
And Bill,
and it may be one of those games I finally get on the table, because I have these images in my head, and I've done the little I've done the little demo thing, and then it's like, oh, this is not like the demo. This sucks. There's too much. This ain't fun. It's almost like that other game. Was it Campaign in North Africa that takes forever and a day to play?
There's a lot of games like that. Like, I know we're kidding around half the time, but every time we're talking about the decision game Pacific War with 4,000 counters and 27 square feet of hex grids. It's like, okay. Yeah. There's, you're talking to Mr. Hex Encounter here, and there's a point where like, nope, nothing. Go on, knock yourself out. You will literally knock yourself out. You'll have to call an EMT and come pick you up off the floor because,
it'd be interesting to do, and it wouldn't be that complicated, is if we just started getting in Hex Encounter games, whether classic or new ones, and just doing a review. This Hex Encounter game is this. It's on a fun scale, it's this. On a realism scale, it's this. It has this many pieces, I don't know about you, Jim, but I've kind of seen a resurgence in interest in Hex Encounter games.
Our Assault review did pretty well. That's an older game. I know we've already talked Valor and Victory to death. Other than that, I should say besides that consideration, for people who love Advanced Squad Leader, but it just is a little too much for them, especially nowadays when everyone's more busy. That's the reason Valor and Victory was created. It was, written by a huge fan of ASL. He even puts this in his designer notes. Barry puts it in his designer's notes. This is a huge thing, but it's just, I can't find players for it anymore. So he boiled it down and he made a more manageable version of Advanced Squad Leader, and that's literally what Valor and Victory is. We've used it a bunch of times on the podcast, on the SitRep podcast. It works okay.
Yes, it does.
Now, it does sand off some corners. It does round off some edges. There are some things that you can't do in Valor and Victory that you could do in Advanced Squad Leader. But those are the kind of decisions you have to make from a design perspective so that you're not, in this quicksand that is Advanced Squad Leader. So And Advanced
Yep.
Squad Leader
Oh.
isn't that bad. It's just you have to. I know people who play like the whole Tractor Factory in Stalingrad and Advanced Squad Leader, and I'm like, all right, I'll talk to you in 6 months. You know, if you keep it to a nice little skirmish size, it's not bad. I don't want to badmouth
Yeah.
Advanced Squad Leader. It's one of the most successful war games ever created. No disrespect to some other games that people think are the biggest war game ever. Just not true. But its time was back in the 80s, to be fair.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
40-year-old game. And one of the reasons it hasn't really survived into at least not the level that it was, is it's just so much. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of administrative stuff on the side versus just shooting at people and blowing them up. So,
You get into a
But,
big
you know,
urban
but you-
battle, you're tracking like what floor your guys are on and where the stairwells are, and you
Yeah.
know this MG40 team got knocked out, and the MG42 remains.
Right.
Not, you know, when it goes away, when you shoot that MG42 crew and it dies, that MG42 is still sitting there, and the other
Yeah.
side can run out and grab it. And you know, especially in Stalingrad scenarios, I've seen. You know, a German MG34 crew gets killed, and the Russians want that gun, and they're fighting over that gun like it's the corpse of Leonidas at Thermopylae. They want that gun because a gun that powerful can really make a difference.
Another thing,
I
Bill,
like
you've
hearing
been
that. I'm
teasing
like, I
us
hear
about.
this goofy music. Cool. Does anybody else have any final thoughts?
Yeah,
before we wrap
another
up?
thing, Bill, you've been teasing us with is you keep talking about doing Star Trek.
Yes,
Oh, RPG? Yeah. It's
make
here
it
somewhere.
so.
It's here somewhere.
Make it so, Bill. That's all I'm going to say is make it so.
I think we'd have a lot of fun because, you know, Chris could be a red shirt. And we'll keep it
Well, if we're in
simple,
TNG era, we just made him the captain of the ship, so I got to be careful when I say that.
Yeah, I can be Kenny. They killed Kenny.
the red shirt.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Oh,
What?
our audio cut out again?
Are you?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
we
Probably
can.
because you were banging on the table.
Probably. Sorry. Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. What I was saying was we should make Marty the red shirt, and then we come up with creative and fun ways of killing him off,
Hey,
and
hey!
we keep it kill
I heard
counter.
that. Red shirt.
What I was saying was that
We'll
we were
name you
talking
Kenny.
before. We were talking before that we were going to play in TNG era, and whoever we make the red shirt is now the captain of the ship. So we got to be careful with throwing around the red
That's
shirt.
true.
Yeah.
We got to make him a yellow shirt. We got to put him next to Worf, the guy that gets beat up every episode just to prove that the enemy is tough this week. The monster of the week is tough. Why? Because he just threw Worf across the bridge.
Yeah.
Worf seems to enjoy it.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say that's in his
we
wheelhouse. though.
will get to it as soon as we get this room settled in and we are able to do things properly. We'll definitely get it settled in. There'll be some changes from previous format as far as camera work. Dawn and I will have a different camera setup here, and it'll be more of a classic podcast setup where we have mics on the table. We'll just sit around the table, and we'll have a camera pointed at the table, and then obviously you'll still see Marty, Chris, and Jim. And we'll just, you know, wax lyrical, as they say in Ireland, and we'll go from there. So, and then when we do videos for playthroughs or painting and stuff, it'll be a little bit of a different setup. But that's all.
Cool.
Guys, any final thoughts before we close out the show?
Yeah, well, one thing real quick. Want to shout out to Steve Frack. Happy birthday, bud.
Yep, it was his birthday today, yesterday.
Yeah, today.
Cool.
So here, one quick thing. I didn't bring it up during the news, but and this is something that would affect Chris perhaps directly. What's up with Bamboo Labs locking down their printers?
Yeah, that, you know, I don't know. I haven't been
happened?
reading. People were taking Bamboo Labs and they were doing a number of things to try to get around some of the limitations. So Bamboo Labs is talking about locking some things down. You know, I don't know. I'm not getting into it and getting all spun up.
Gotcha.
I'm not trying to run a print farm or anything. And that's
Sure.
where that's what they're fighting, I think.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
All right. Well, Marty, we'll expect a full story on that on the next show.
No,
Yeah.
because it's out of control. I mean, it's for the 3D printing community, it's utter chaos. The battle lines have been drawn. It's kind of out of control, and I'm like, I don't have one. I don't care.
And it's all conspiracy theories at this point. People were like, "Oh,
Well,
they're gonna."
It's not making me want to drive out and get one.
I'm happy with mine, and I'm going to be using it a lot. I've backed 2 more Kickstarters. So the Fall of Drakenfeld, something like that.
Yeah, from Loot Studios.
No, not Loot Studios.
That-
It's actual Kickstarter. It's the one that is for 40K and AOS terrain. It's all modular, and you can stack it up.
Gotcha.
And there's a it's called Stage Top 2.0. You can make gaming tables.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys.
Keep an eye out for part 2 of our Kson coverage
Yeah.
later tonight, early tomorrow morning, depending on where you are in the world. Part 1 went up last week, and so you got the first half of the game already there. Check it out if you're interested. Part 2 is, the game is really in the balance. Damon is playing the Marines. He's got to take at least one of 2 hills, 881 north and south. He has 881 north in sight. He's within like 150 meters of the top of the hill. And his Heliborn Marines are now coming in aboard those old H-34s, those old Seahorse helicopters. Yeah, covered by UH-1E helicopter gunships. So there were no helicopters in part 1 because he held them kind of in reserve. So helicopters are coming in part 2. Again, he's got the summit of the first hill in sight. So again, check it out. There are 2 hills in play. He's got to take at least one of them to get a draw. That was the historical result. The Marines could take one and not the other.
Mhm.
So yeah, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines now has the first hill in sight, and he's starting to maneuver toward the 2nd hill. That's 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines, and we'll see how that turns out. So yeah, check it out to see how that game wraps up. I promise it's a close one. It has a pretty good finish.
Helicopter.
I'm sorry.
Helicopter sucks me.
Yep, there you go.
Even the old Screaming Mimes, I believe those are the old Screaming Mimes versions, the H-34s. So he's a kickback to a TV show.
The Seahorse was the Marine name for it. Some people call it the Surfing Bird. Some people erroneously call it the Jolly Green Giant. I think that was a different type of helicopter.
Yeah, that's
But,
the AH-53.
Yeah, exactly. So these are what the Navy calls UH-34 Seahorses. I'm not sure what the Choctaw, I think, was the Army name for them. I think. I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, they're coming in. They're completely unarmored and unarmed, but the Marines do have the navalized UH-1E. Some people aren't sure if the Marines actually had Hueys in Vietnam. They did. They weren't terribly common, but they did have a few. So those are in tomorrow's episode. So yeah, check it out and see how that game finishes up.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. It's been great catching up with everybody. And Jim, we're looking forward to the upcoming content. And until then, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, share with your friends, tell your nerds, come on over.
That's right.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.